probably watching this video because obviously you want to know some recipes, right? Well, today is going to be your, as the thumbnail says, no bullshit guide. All right, that's what we're going to do today. So first, I'll show you how to make a recipe. So you can use this with like almost anything consumable. Only things you really can't use that are consumable are like soups. That's basically it. Now, I highly recommend, there's been some misconception out there about using raw meat compared to cooked meat. Now, raw meat, nothing wrong with it. It's definitely easier to make because it's easier to just go get, right? But instead, you could just throw raw meat into a grill, right? Nice and easy, pretty easy to do. Yes, I am on unofficial, and all the stats I am showing you are the same for official. I 100% promise. I will bet my house on it. At the time of this video, is exactly the same. If I put my crafting at 1100%, like it is on here, yes, I'm at level 176, but I put it in the weight and stuff, so obviously I can move around a little bit better. You can literally go to level 101. It'll put you at 1100 or 1100% crafting skill. It's exactly the same. So what I'm showing you here in numbers is going to be exactly what you could do on official. First thing you're gonna need a cooking pot. Obviously you put it down. Next thing you're gonna need obviously cooked meat, and so you put that in there, and you're gonna need a note, and you craft the notes on yourself. It just costs 1 fiber and 3 thatch per note. So you make usually like quite a few of them. Like if I know I'm gonna make quite a few recipes, so you put the note, you put whatever food you want to put in there. You can also change what you're putting in there at the time making it, like this. So if you wanted to, I could just take them all out, but I'm gonna put it back in. Sometimes if you put it back in and it's not showing, just X out of here, out of that screen, and just come right back in. So you'll be able to make the recipe all over again, and it'll restart it. All right. Now this is where you can customize it. You can pick a burger, pick a cake. You can pick a, looks kind of like a sushi plate. Usually for cooked meat, like lower, you know, things like if I'm using 5 or 10 cooked meat or, you know, cooked prime meat, usually go for the burgers. When I'm doing the big ones, like I got 50 cooked meat or 50 cooked prime meat, I'm using the cake. I'm just going to kind of stick with it just for easy simplicity of the video. So whatever you color or whatever you want, boom, boom, boom. You name it whatever you want, like super cool burger. And of course, video really helps you out. Do me a quick favor, you know, not me. All right, so then plain and simple, that's nice and easy done. You hit make recipe, boom, you go back in your inventory, you made your first burger. Okay, now another thing you can use, it'll up your crafting a little bit more, is it's called a focal chili. I'll show you what that looks like just in case. So these are focal chilies. Does up your crafting speed. These things are great, not just for making kibble, but definitely, you know, make you move faster and up your, like I said, up your crafting speed and your crafting skill. That's how you make a recipe. Boom, boom. Now I highly suggest, instead of making, as soon as you can get an industrial cooker, you're going to want to get it because it's way easier, way faster to make these. For example, so you just boom, way faster. Now, if you were to do that in there, and that would take a couple of years. So anyway, bon appetit. So now in these boxes, I have foods, because foods are the biggest important. You know, you can get more health from them, more food, more stam. Drinks, not so much. No, that's what's in those two. So let's start off with these. We'll start off with the foods, and I'm going to just really try and buzz over these as fast as I can. It's gonna take a minute, I promise, but well worth knowing because it's gonna show you like a whole bunch of stuff you could use. But just to give you an idea, this is when I had my character. Obviously I'm level 176 on here, so I did make these when I was level 175. Actually, I'll leave that up there just in case you want to look at it too. These are going to be a little bit higher compared to what I'm at now at this 1100, which I will show you recipes in a couple boxes down that was made with this character with this crafting skill. Just in case you missed it or whatever. It is obtainable at level 101 if you put all your points in a crafting skill. Official, unofficial, it can even go higher depending on what your servers, you know, the server settings are on the cluster you're playing on. Now, cooked meat. My normal go-to, I mean, that's 10 cooked meat. That's it. I mean, that's, I mean, as of right now, I mean, that's double my food, what I have here, right? Health, obviously, well, right now it's really low. Obviously, we're usually 5, 6, you know, 100 and more. I'm more of a crafter and use more weight than anything and like build and stuff, so it doesn't really apply to me. Like I'm not in like the 2000 range, you know what I mean? So 10 cooked meat, you know, you got 10 cooked prime meat. Now the big difference between these two, it doesn't matter what the level is. Basically, I'm just going to show you the comparison of the two, right? The health is a lot more than the food. It's still, but it's still giving you way more. I mean, obviously 10, right? But the food 286, then you got 415. Right? And for health, you got 158 with cooked meat, 400 472. Again, that's, most of people's max health, right? So to me, as much as I can help it, I know unofficial it sucks. That's why I do cooked meat a little bit more unofficial, because obviously we all know it sucks, there's no stacking. But if you're on unofficial and you have stacking, highly suggest cooked prime meat, or even, I tricked myself, or even the cooked lamb chop, yes, which is cooked mutton, just in case nobody doesn't know or nobody knows. It's the same exact stats as the cooked prime meat. Okay, so 10 lamb chops is the same exact food, health, and stam in this recipe as it is in here. And it's the same exact crafting skill. It was the same exact level when I was at 175. Same thing, right? So definitely highly suggest my go-to every time is the cooked lamb chop and the cooked prime meat. Now, you have like algae sushi, gives you a bunch of food, bunch of stam, right? Corrupted nodule and the organic poly. Okay, I did get it. Obviously, you don't want to use this. It's going to take your health and your stam away. So this is even with 10, and this is even with 1 corrupted nodule, right? Because obviously corrupted nodules are used like organic poly. Yeah, kibble. I'll keep going. Well, I might touch base on it now. So regular kibble, extraordinary, exceptional, superior, basic, simple. It doesn't matter, right? It's the same exact numbers for each one. Okay, again, yes, I am at, crafting skill was way higher, but for this example, it would be 322 food and 429 stam. Okay, not a lot of health, but if you're really looking for food, highly suggest, where is it? Aha, basic kibble. You know how easy it is to make basic kibble? It's like 1 cooked meat, 1 dodo egg, or basic common egg, right? I think it's like 10 amara berries, 10 tino, and 5 mijo berries. To do that, to get this, if you're just strictly looking for food and like stam, hell yeah, I would highly suggest just doing a basic kibble. Or you can do a basic, you can mix these. So you could put 1 basic kibble in to get that much food and stam, and then I'm turning around and throwing in like 5 or 10 things of cooked prime meat, right? So you're gonna get a little bit of health on top of, the crazy amount of food now, and obviously the crazy amount of stam. So definitely a game changer there. Just so you know, it's use a whole bunch of stuff, even owl pellets, right? Obviously, this is not a good idea. 1 food and negative health and negative stam. No, not a good idea. But hey, you gotta try it. You don't know until you try it. Yes, you can use berry seeds. You can use crop seeds. They're all the same per 5. Do not recommend at all. Honestly, it's no. I mean, for as high as my crafting level is, and for 5 seeds, no. Now, if you're doing gotchas and stuff like that, and you're using iguanodon anyway, and maybe you're like, maybe I'll be able to waste some of these seeds. I have some extra ones, sure, but I don't see it useful. I would rather just, again, cook prime or cook mutton or cooked meat, doesn't matter. Rare flowers, same thing as eggs, which, well, is the new eggs now. Usually used to be able to use Rex eggs or whatever egg. It didn't even matter. You can use a dodo egg. It'll give you the same amount of food, health, and stam. And it was a crazy amount. It was like, hell, I think my character was like 130s or something like that. And my food was like, like 350. And like health was like 350. And my stam was like, it wasn't 350, but I think it was like, I don't know, I don't even remember anymore, 150, 200. So the eggs were crazy broken. They change it. It is what it is. Going down, even fertilized eggs, obviously same thing. I just want to try it for the heck of it. Element dust. Now, this is definitely more of a late game. Unless you get lucky and you find a gotcha, you find a dust gotcha somehow. Highly recommend. If you got it like that and you got the dust just blowing out of your grocery hole, hell yeah, I would totally recommend this. I mean, for 20 element dust and having my crafting as high as it is, doing almost 300 food, health, and stam all at the same time, and it is the same for the drinks. Do I have it in here? Yes. So it's the same exact thing for the 20 element dust. It's the 286 water, health, and stam. You can't go wrong. The reason I went with 20 was because obviously in a gotcha crystal, once you get the crafting to where you want it, you get 180 element dust per gotcha crystal. Having a gotcha crystal and, cracking it, you get 9, food or 9 drinks per crystal. But anyway, per crystal, you get 9 food or 9 drinks or however you want to mix that up. There you go. So rare flower, no. Cactus sap, if you're stuck on like scorched earth or something, maybe fine, I mean, but again, my crafting is really high. Or, obviously it was 175, so yeah, for 6 food, I mean, you do 10 cactus sap, you're looking at like 60 food, Yeah. Again, each person has their own situation, right? Like maybe you'd be able to make a hell of a lot of sweet veggie cakes, you know? I don't know. And then, but even, I mean, if they were good, you know, good to put in a recipe, sure, but they're not. Same thing as eggs. Maybe, well, I'm trying to find something here. Oh, was it the algae? Yeah, like the algae sushi. Like maybe you have a whole bunch of algae that you can use, right? You just burn it up. Maybe you want to do that. 322 food and 429 stam. Yeah, not bad. If you're just looking for food, you know what I mean? So honey, so again, my crafting's super high. So I mean, to get like just under 30 food for one honey, my opinion, not really worth it. Raw prime fish meat, again, not really worth it. Even the cooked is not much higher. I should have put that in here. My fault. Here's the cool one. Rare mushrooms. This is for one. You get 140, just under 144 stam. No food or health though. But again, you could throw a couple of rare mushrooms and put in, but you know, if you put one rare mushroom, at least one rare mushroom in this, you'd have 160, just under 160 stam per recipe. Not bad. Creepy tribe mate, hell yeah. So to go through, and these are the stats for my crafting level of what it is. With my crafting level at where it's at, this is what I was able to make, and this is going to be like your meats. So again, cooked lamb chop is the same as cooked prime meat. Hold on, let's see, 10. I think it's over here. Yeah. So 268, 305, 10, 268, 305, 10. Like I said, everybody's situation is way different. So I don't know if you're going to be able to get, you know, prime meat more, lamb chop. Like me, on the server and the cluster I'm playing on right now, I have nothing but sheep, and I can get a million mutton in no time. I'm kind of far in, and I have really heavy mutated ones, and obviously increase the health. If you want to, you know, maybe use a chainsaw on it. I know, again, this is a lot harder on official, but if you want to do that, you can. Just sit there next to a couple of grills, and boom, 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 just, you know, cook away. You could do that. Now, whatever you want to do. So cook prime meat. I usually do like a really high number, and I make them like a boss cake. Right, so, and you'll see in a second. Another thing, I did want to show what the difference is with using focal chili and not using focal chili, right? So this is with the you know, just 50 cooked prime meat with the focal chili, right? 1,337 food, 1,522 health, and 47 stamp. Okay. Now we're talking without the focal chili. We're at 1,224 food, 1,393 health. That's, to me, that's a pretty solid jump. Just to, you know, take a focal chili and again cook prime meat, and normal is like, you know, 5. You know, do like a 5 or a 10. It gets you at least your, you know, your food filled, or at least close to it. Health, again, I really like having the health in there too, because on top of, you know, hitting the med brews a couple times, you can hit a couple of your cakes or burgers or whatever you have. It has, you know, a couple hundred health on it. Before you know it, you're doing great. I mean, if I'm in a boss fight, I want one of these. You know, I mean, I have to hit it a couple hundred times. Jesus, I hit it a couple of times. I'm getting quite a few hundred. You know, things of health here. Last but not least, a little trick here. If you want to throw in a little bit of stam, you can throw some stem berries in there. You can throw a little 5, maybe 10 in there if you want. Again, this was at the crafting skill that I'm at right now. Not bad. You know, I mean, just a little extra kick that you can use. But real quick, just to go over the difference between raw meat and cooked meat. This is the thing I was talking about where, you know, a lot of people, I don't know if they want to try and keep it a secret that cooked meat's a really good thing to use, or I just don't see a lot of people use it and not a lot of people talk about it. And I think it's more just like, no, people don't know, and they're, you know, making the video on it and don't really understand how crafting recipes really truly works. But I digress. So raw meat, obviously you have 70 food, right? 70 food for raw meat. You come over, it's the same thing. It's 5 cooked meat instead of the raw, and you're at 93 food. So that's literally a 23 food difference. And again, that's just like at a lower crafting level, like how I am now. Now I add a focal chili, you're gonna add a couple more food on there. The health's still the same, right? And the stam's still the same, but the food, I mean, that makes good enough difference for me to make it cook. But again, to each their own. So now we move on to the aberration mushroom. Believe it or not, you can actually use these. So there are a couple differences, and this also works for like there's things with crops and drinks and stuff like that too. Again, I can explain all these to you and show them to you, and you can watch this video like 20, 30, 40, 50 times. It's not going to be the same until you get in there and just kind of get dirty with, you know, and get the experience of making your own recipes. It's just, you're going to want to try different things, try, you know, adding 10 of these, you know, 10 agrivic mushrooms and maybe like 10 auric mushrooms, you know what I mean? So to see what concoction you kind of want to put up. So agrivic mushrooms, they're more for stamp, but I mean, you get a little bit of health in there, but you know, you come over to like the drink side. Oh, look, they're the same. Okay. Now you come over to the aquatic mushroom, right? Now the food isn't nearly as close as like how it is for water. So you're using one aquatic mushroom going to give you almost 18 water, where obviously same stat, I guess. One aquatic mushroom for food is just over 5. It's not really worth putting in the food, right? It would be way worth putting it into the drink. So that, again, just play around, look and see what each one does. But I mean, just to give you an idea. Okay, now acerbic mushrooms, not so great. Gives you not even 2 health, and it's taking your stam away. Long story short, don't use them. Not a good idea. It does have food, takes away your stam. Not that much health. Not very beneficial. Just stay away from it. Auric mushrooms, crap load of stam. Kind of like the rare mushrooms, but a little less. But I would highly suggest just using the rare mushrooms instead of having to worry about getting auric mushrooms. Now, if you're on ab, you main ab, or you're starting on aberration, something like that, this is a really good alternative for the rare mushrooms. And, you know, obviously if you can't find the rare mushrooms that fast. So a nice little like auric mushroom and like using like a raw meat kind of thing. Yeah, it's a really good combo. Now, to show you what I usually do, like I brought up before, I usually do a big boss cake. So again, being at this crafting level, yes, you're going to see that my crafting skill is now down to 10 because I had a focal chili active making all the other recipes. So it's going to be just a tad lower. So my food for 50 cooked prime meat is 1,224. My health is 1,393, and my stamina is 43. So, I mean, I could, again, pop a couple of these with a couple of med brews if worst case scenario, I'm gaining, you know, or I can just hit it, you know, a couple times without even thinking about it, you know, especially like Tech Cave, where you're constantly just, you know, you're draining, your health's draining, you know, food's draining, water's draining. It's definitely going to be a good way to go. Like I said before, you know, a little cooked meat situation. Jeez, food 169. Obviously, it's going to take care of most people's food. A lot of people don't even level it. I personally do. I usually, because I want it to last longer. I'm usually 160 to 200 range. Like on here, on this unofficial cluster, I'm at 200. Just again, I just don't want to be bothered with it. You know what I mean? So I just crank one food, one drink once in a while. And that's it. I almost don't even have to eat. Trying to incorporate the kibble a little bit. This is probably going to be my go-to if I wanted to start doing kibble, I would think. Or maybe I might go up to 20 on this. I'm going to play around with it, and I'll do some shorts or something and show, like, you know, updates on what I think is, like, the best food to make. Or best recipe, rather. To me, 435 food, 280 health, 262 stam. To me, that is pretty ideal for just your general day-to-day food. Cooked meat 50, again, just another option, just because I have a lot more cooked meat than I have cooked prime meat, or any kind of prime meat rather. Just throw this up. I mean, it does pretty good. I mean, it's half of like what this is, but it is an option. Again, 10 cooked prime meat. Again, if I have a lot of cooked prime meat. Now, almost done. For drinks, this will be pretty quick. So for drinks, crops are going to be your best friend. Okay, it's just, they're super simple. It's something you could just basically AFK farm, right? If you even have robots or something of that nature, you can't go wrong. So citronal is usually a big one that I use. I usually do like quadruple the amount of crop plots for citronal because I just make so much stuff with it. So citronal is a good one. You have long grass, literally the same stats. You also have, I'll show you the berries in a second. I usually do like official, I'll do like 5 citronal just because it's just water. If I don't make my berry mix, which obviously was this, and I'll get to in a second. See your rock carrot, same thing, 43, 43, 43, and then you have Savor. This is one of the things I wanted to show you also with the crops. I mentioned a couple boxes ago. So food is 6 and the water is 43. Big difference. So obviously don't use these for food. Use them for drinks, for the crops. All right. Now, my recommended drinks, definitely berries. I know unofficial it is stacked by 100, but to me, I don't care. This is my typical go-to recipe is 50, 50, 50 of the new berries and then 25 mijo berries. Done. I don't really use, I try not to use the, obviously the azul berries, the mar berries. And the tinselberries, just in case you don't know, it's the yellow, blue, and the red ones, because you use those for, you know, making focal chili, making other recipes and stuff. I really try and stay away from doing that. So I stick with the newer berries instead. Pretty good. I mean, again, this is the same crafting level, like this crafting level right here. That's exactly how I made it, and that's without the focal chili. So 391 water, 148 health, 148 stamina. Good all the way around, on top of using, you know, your foods. Oh yeah. Last box, things I usually make, like I said before, usually make one that's 5 citronal. Gives me just a bang load of water. Okay, maybe I shouldn't use bang load. That might take it weird. It's fine. 5 citronal gives you 211 water, little health, very little stam. Not even worth like mentioning. But again, go 50, 50, 50, 25 on the berries. You really can't go wrong. I highly recommend, again, the berries, or if you just want to go like all mijos instead of doing like, if you want to do like 200 mijos for you know, one drink, fine, up to you. All right, but that's really it. If you guys have any questions, comments, this is a longer one. I'm sorry, I tried to make it as short as possible and talk as fast as I could, but yeah, that didn't happen. But yeah, any questions, anything like that, leave in the comments, or you can message me on Discord. Discord and all my links and stuff are down in the description. And like and subscribe if it's really helped you. I very much appreciate it, and we'll see you.